Are you there, Amber? I don't see you. Rebekah, Alexander, and Jessica. Okay, I think you're coming.
How do you do this?
Do that.
Okay, I think everybody's here. There we go. Rebekah just got unmuted there. Sure did. Okay. All right, we'll go on the record here in the White Circuit Court. This is cause number 91C01-1405-DR-61. This is reference to the marriage of Rebekah King, former wife, and Philip King, former husband. We're here today to address child support, as well as, I believe, scheduling a date for exchange of the child and determine any arrearage. This proceeding is being held by Zoom. If anybody objects to this being held by Zoom, please speak up now or raise your hand. Okay, no objections. Also understand that this is a public hearing. This is being streamed live on YouTube for public access purposes. There being no objections being held by Zoom, we will continue. First rule is by the Indiana Supreme Court, there's no recording allowed. You're not allowed to video nor audio, nor any means by video or audio, record these proceedings. I am going to allow everybody the opportunity to speak as needed. Sometimes these Zoom hearings are hard, so if you feel like you need called upon by the judge instead of trying to speak over somebody, if you please raise your right hand, I will keep track of somebody that raised their hand to speak, and we will proceed accordingly. If at any time, Ms. Hoover, you feel like you need a breakout session to speak with your client in private, let me know, and we'll set up that little breakout room for you two for approximately 5 minutes or less if needed to discuss anything that you may need as well. Madam Reporter is on here as well. This is being recorded also for transcribed purposes. Okay. Previously filed here, it looks like by email, and I hope everybody received these by Ms. Hoover. Looks like a proposed child support order worksheet, paychecks from Mr. King, an arrearage calculation sheet, and it looks like a breakdown of the cost for benefits. Those were received by email of this court today around 1 p.m. If you did not receive those, please raise your right hand or raise your hand or let me know.
You can't show how do you show audio?
Yeah, how do you show audio?
Or video.
A video, yeah.
So somewhere on yours, it's on your end. So I've allowed access for everybody to do audio or visual. You're the only one that's on audio right now. So somewhere, I don't know if you're using your phone or a device, there should be a way to allow you to access.
It's a tablet, and we've been clicking all these buttons trying to figure out which one to click on to allow that, but we can't figure it out. Okay. We've never used this before, so.
Okay. Well, can you hear us though?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
But
okay. All right. Ms. Fisher, did you receive
that? She didn't receive that request. We didn't have the email until just an hour or so ago from them, and we never got any paperwork requesting that because our lawyer had dropped us and we were unaware because of inadequate contact from him. We only received an
Okay.
email and no
All right,
call.
hold on for a second here. Hold on. I'm going to go through the parties that are here. All right.
Sure.
We have Father here, along with his attorney, Miss Hoover. We have guardian ad litem, Miss Rebekah Trent here. We have Miss Fisher here on behalf of the 4D from the prosecutor's office. And I can't tell who's on there, but I hear a male voice. So I would have to assume that might be whoever is with Rebekah.
Yes, Jesse
All right, so
Douglas.
do we have Rebekah King, or what's your name now, last name?
It's Fisher.
All right, so do we have Rebekah Fisher here?
Yes.
All right, so I'm not going to listen to anything that anybody else has to say except you on your end. Do you understand that? You don't have an attorney.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me, what did you not receive?
Any request?
Any requests for documents?
Okay, this was an email sent out by Miss Hoover, I believe. Miss Hoover, did you send this to everybody?
Yes, Judge, I did this afternoon for purposes of letting people be able to see the proposed child support worksheet I calculated, as well as to give everyone access to see what my client's rate of pay is in using that child support worksheet. Then there is a calculation for the amount of rearage that I had worked with the prosecutor's office, Ms. Fisher's with. And then in addition will be the health insurance documents showing the breakdown of cost for the individual versus an individual with a child, that I use those numbers to determine, as my client will then have to place the child on his health insurance and be accounted for that in the child support.
Okay. Miss Fisher, can you give her an email address and she can send those to you real quick?
Yes, it's Rebekah Fisher 0614@gmail.com.
Did you
Is it-
receive the ones that I emailed to the account that you're using for the Zoom?
Just a little ago. Yeah.
Okay, so those are the documents I'm referring to.
Okay.
So you do have those then?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Can you address mistakes in those documents?
Let me know when you see those.
Can I address mistakes in the documents?
Can I request mistakes in those documents? Address?
Yeah, we'll give you an opportunity. But you have them?
Yes, I have them.
Okay, yeah. All right, so let's deal with child support first. You may go ahead, Miss Hoover. We'll proceed with child support first.
Can I have my client's Philip King testify, please, Your Honor?
All right, Mr. King, if you'll please raise your right hand. If you'll please raise your right hand.
Been freezing up getting all of this. We've
No, hold
had
on.
the office.
Mr. King, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, please raise your right hand. Are you there? All right, raise your right hand. Okay. We lost video of Mr. King at this time. Can you hear us, Mr. King? Sounds like somebody's moving around. I can't tell if that's him, maybe moving to an area for better reception.
Judge, my client is having problems with the internet. It keeps freezing up. He said both the audio and the video. I'm
Okay.
going to instruct him to take the video off to see if maybe that would help.
Okay. Why don't we try that? Are you there?
I am here, sir.
Okay. Ms. Fisher, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, why don't we do this real quick while we have both of you. Both of you, please raise your right hand.
I'm raising it.
Mr. King, can you raise your right hand?
Yes, sir.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the evidence or testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Ms. Fisher?
I do.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Hoover.
Thank you, Judge.
Uh-huh.
Philip, you can put your hand down. I'm going to go over with you. First of all, state your full name for the record.
Speaking to me,
Yes, yes. State
Okay.
your full name for the record.
Philip D. King Jr.
Okay. Philip, you had provided to my office paychecks. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And can you explain to the court what your earning capacity is at your employment?
You're up repeatedly. It's probably on my end. Okay.
How much do you make, Philip?
$50,000 a year, set salary.
Okay. And so on an hourly rate, it's about $24 an hour that you make?
Approximately.
Okay. And do you currently have any health insurance right now
I
through
do.
your employer?
Not through the employer. I have life insurance through the employer, and I have a thing happens. Can't remember.
Okay.
Um,
With your son moving custody-wise to you in Georgia, do you have the capability of placing him on your health insurance through your employer?
yes.
Okay. And did you provide to my office copies of what it would cost for you to include the child in your health insurance?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And will you be adding health insurance for your child? Will you be adding your child to your health insurance once he becomes in your custody, Mr. King?
Please repeat.
Will you be adding the child to your health insurance through your employer once you became having custody of him? Mr. King, are you still there?
Mr. King,
Yes, sir.
all right, your attorney's asking you some questions.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. King, are you able to add your son to your health insurance through your employer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Will you also be including dental and vision on that health insurance plan? Dental and vision, Mr. King?
Say again?
Will you be adding dental and vision to that insurance plan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There are two types of insurance available. One with a health savings on a low plan, and the other one is the OAP with the higher amount. Do you recall which plan you were looking at doing?
Lower premiums.
The lower premium ones? Okay. And so when looking at that, to add the child to your health care, you would be looking at a cost of over $166 per week. Is that correct? Mr. King?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And as soon as the child is in your care, you will be able to have him added to your insurance through your employer, correct?
I didn't hear all of that. It froze up. I apologize.
When the child is in your care, you will then have the ability to add him to your health insurance, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so you are looking at asking the court to order mom responsible to pay child support of $57 per week. Is that correct? $57 a week, is that the child support amount that you have requested, Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
King?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, those are the only questions I have regarding the child support amount.
If I'm looking at this sheet on the medical benefits, is this the one on the left or the right? The HSA 5,000 low, is that the one we're talking about?
No, the one on the right, Your Honor, is what he had indicated he would be choosing. And those are the numbers I had used in my calculation for the proposed child support worksheets. Was taking the 166.94, subtracting out the employee portion of the 59.49, bringing it to 107.45 for the issues for medical. And then the dental and vision are on the second plan or the second page of those documents, Judge. And again, I took what it was for the employee and the child and subtracted out what the cost was for the employee only. And dental came out to the $14.78 and vision came out to $1.37. Adding those three together is where I come up with $124 that he will pay each week for medical, dental, and vision insurance for the child.
Okay, that's what my math comes out as well. Anything else address on child support?
Your Honor, we just used mother at minimum wage. No documents were provided. We understand mother has not worked for quite a few years, but that she is not on a disability is our understanding, is why we went with the $290. And so I can question mother about that, but that's where the amount for the $290 came into play. There's no other issues. There's no other daycare or anything required cost for the child.
All right, if you'll go ahead and ask Ms. Fisher some of the questions for child support worksheet purposes. Ms. Fisher, remember that you are under oath.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Fisher, are you currently employed?
No, I am not.
Are you on any type of disability?
No.
So you are capable of going out and working a minimum wage job at this time?
Yes, I can.
And you understand that there will be no daycare cost or anything added in there due to the age of the child, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you understand where the health insurance costs come from with Mr. King being responsible now for health insurance, dental, and vision?
And so he is to pay that, or?
Mr. King will be responsible for paying for the health insurance for the child now.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And those were the documents that you received on the vision and the dental and the medical, correct? You received those?
Yes.
I have no other questions, Your Honor.
Okay, so Ms. Fisher, you've seen that the child support worksheet, which is required by the Indiana Supreme Court to be supplied to this, shows that you are responsible for a payment of $57 per week payable to Mr. King based on the overnights, the cost of healthcare, and putting in gross income for both father and mother. You have any reason to disagree with that before we go to the next step?
Yes.
Okay, what?
I do not currently work.
Okay.
And it shows that I make $290 per week. And
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, and that's why Ms. Hoover asked you, you have no disability, you have nothing holding you back from a job. That is the lowest amount of money we can put into a child support order worksheet.
Okay.
Indiana Supreme Court says you are a capable adult in Indiana. You're able to work, and we're going to impute or basically say that somebody should be able to work and receive at least $290 per week.
Okay, I misunderstood that. Yes, I understand.
No problem. Anything else on the child support worksheet that you want to question?
At 7/31 of 2020, it was at 19. And that's when he stopped paying. The
Okay,
child,
we're going to get to that next. That's the arrearage sheet. We're going to get to that next, but right now, the court's going to take the child support worksheet in play in order that based on all the information necessary, that a child support order will be put in place payable from mother to father in the amount of $57 per week. Now, we're going to talk about how shall that be paid, or shall we use that as deductions? It appears maybe if there's some arrearage that we will have coming up, okay? So now I take it you have some questions on that arrearage sheet that you have received. Is that right, Mom?
correct.
Okay, all right. I now will allow Ms. Hoover to ask some questions to either Ms. Fisher or Mr. King on that child support worksheet as needed. Noted that this was prepared, if I'm correct, by Ms. Fisher. Is that correct?
By
I
me,
can't-
Judge?
Yeah, by Linda Fisher. Sorry, from the 4D.
Oh.
There's two of them there. My apologies. This was filled out by the White County 4D office and gives us a list of the arrearage of child support. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Hoover.
Your Honor, actually, I will start with Linda Fisher to go over that, please.
Okay, all right. Ms. Fisher, if you can please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the evidence or testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
All right, go ahead. Thank you, Ms. Hoover.
Thank you, Judge. Can you please state your full name for the record?
Linda Robledo Fisher.
And Ms. Fisher, can you explain your capacity and involvement in this case?
I'm a Title 4D caseworker.
Okay. And have you been familiar with the parties in this matter?
Yes.
And can you explain to the court how an arrearage is determined, how you've calculated to see how far behind Mr. King is?
We take the original order times the number of weeks and then deduct any amount that's been paid. And then we come out with the arrearage.
And so this original order for child support payable to mother was entered when?
There was a provisional order, I believe, on 6/6 of 2014 for $81. And then it continued in the final order of 8/29/2014 for $81.
And do you have any understanding as to why payments were not initially enacted in this case?
I do not.
Okay. And so from your position, how far behind is Mr. King in his support payments?
According to the calculations, it would be $16,744.
And how did you come up with that amount? What have you based that off of?
We took it from the time of the order, how many weeks times $81, the total amount due, deducted the amount that he's paid.
And where have you been able to determine the amounts that have been paid?
Through a payment history recorded through ISETs, he's paid through the court.
And so you accurately believe that he has paid around $10,634 in this case?
Correct.
And so the $16,744 of an arrearage is as of November 20th, is that correct, of this
Yes,
year?
I believe so.
Your Honor, I have no other questions for this witness.
Okay. I think I'll give Miss Rebekah Fisher an opportunity. What questions do you have on this worksheet? Mom?
I want to clarify why you didn't pay it first.
Yeah, why he didn't pay it first was because we didn't have a valid address in the beginning.
Oh, that's okay. I'm not listening to any excuses. He's not
Okay.
paid, so he has an arrearage of $16,744. Do you have any reason to believe that that's not accurate?
No.
Okay, so basically
Well,
this says,
when I called the child support office, it was August 4th, and it was at 19 for the hearing, and that's when he stopped paying.
of 2019?
So 20, August 4th, 20th, the day of court. It was
Okay,
at 19,000. So why is it less now? Because he stopped paying.
In July.
And
no, she's showing that's 47 weeks as of November 20th,
Is she for the child support?
which was last Friday.
Does she work for the child?
Does she work for the child support office?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
Must have been mistaken.
Then yeah, I don't know, because that's what it
Okay.
was. That must have been mistaken.
Okay. All right, so we have an arrearage in this. The court's going to order the arrearagement of $16,744, which was due from father to mother. So what the court would like to do is order that the support that's payable from mom to father would actually be a credit now towards the arrearage. Mom, what that says is you don't have to pay him any support. What you were ordered to pay will come off as a credit towards this arrearage of $16,744.
Okay.
You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Anything else on child support arrearage and how we will calculate it from here, it being a credit from mom to dad's arrearage?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. So we've addressed two of the items. Now it looks like we need to determine a date of custody change. And now we'll listen to anything that Ms. Trent has to say and pertains to that. You might be muted, Ms. Trent. Mom, we're trying to get her microphone to work on her. So you can't see her, but she's been talking, but we've not been able to hear her. So she's working on her microphone right now, I think.
Okay, can you hear me now? There we
Yes,
go.
we can. Thank you.
You're welcome. So when I looked at the calendar, basically, they're done with school here. It looks like the December 18th timeframe, splitting the Christmas vacation time period pretty much works out where December 26th is the middle of that holiday timeframe. So it looked to me that it would be appropriate that that would be the date where Zachary would transition to dad's home. It's halfway between that time period. I know that the father would like to try to work on something with this, trying with the school. I mean, that was the biggest issue, is getting him prepared for school in Georgia. And there's some testing that they want to do. I did ask if he was able to talk with the school about trying to coordinate that with the school here. So during the last week or two of while he's still here, if they could try to do some of that testing here or send it here or do something to get that done. And I'm not sure if he was able to do that or not. The only other question there would become is if the Twin Lakes school system doesn't go back to school, they're right now set to go back on November 30th, which I thought it was more important that he did go ahead and continue the semester here until the end if they're in person. If they didn't go back, then maybe that would be something we could move up his time a little bit to get that testing done in Georgia. But at the moment, they are planning on going back to school on the 30th. So that was the what I offered to both parties.
Okay. Ms. Hoover, on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, what Ms. Trent said is true. My client does have to be able to get some testing done. Unfortunately, the testing has to be done at the school in Georgia. They're not able to do any testing up here. So it'll delay. I can have my client to testify to this. Mr. King, are you still available?
Yes.
Remember, you're still under oath, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain to the court the requirements for the testing for Zachary to be in Georgia's school system?
It wasn't necessarily for him to be required for him to be in Georgia's school system. We wanted to do some placement testing in regards to the differences in curriculum, because when he was here over spring break, we did notice that there were some things that he was just now learning that our younger child in the home has already gone over. And so we didn't want to throw him into it without having him be prepared. We wanted to do some placement testing to make sure that he's in the best possible case scenario for making it in school.
And so that placement testing has to take place at the school in Georgia. They cannot provide that up here in Indiana.
Correct. They can't do that until he is officially registered. And the way they do it is once he's registered, he has, I believe, and then once he physically goes, that's when they can do the placement testing.
Okay, Mr. King, you cut out for a second. Once he is registered, you believe I believe you're gonna say how many days it is that he has, but we couldn't hear that.
Once he has 3 days to physically start school, and then they can do the placement testing.
Okay. So Judge, with regard to that, we'd obviously like to be able to see the child, transition as quickly as possible. We understand with Ms. Trent, like she said, allowing the child to finish out school in person. We would ask that if the child through the Twin Lakes school system goes virtual for the remainder, that we be able to move up his transition to Georgia and allow him to finish out the virtual Twin Lakes system in Georgia, at the same time being able to get him set up to start the school and ready to go in January in Georgia.
Ms. Hoover or Mr. King, do you know when the start date is for the Georgia school system?
Mr. King, are you available?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can. When's the start date for the Georgia school?
I believe it's January 1st. No, January 3rd.
January 4th is what you had informed me. That's the first Monday after the holiday break, Mr. King. Does that sound accurate?
The 4th, the first Monday after.
Okay. All right, Mom, anything you have to say towards the exchange date or, I'm sorry, say that again?
Sorry, continue talking. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. Go ahead. Do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, Zach and I were requesting that he goes back the beginning of 2021 school year, which is the next grade, which is 7th grade, instead of halfway through this year.
Why is that?
To allow for an easier transition.
Yeah, to allow for an easier transition. And they start, it's August 9th of 21.
So then he has the whole summer.
So he has the whole summer with me too.
Half the summer.
Yeah, half the summer, but, and then he transitions back into that. And then he has half the summer.
I'm not sure if you guys are aware of it, but we can hear whoever is telling you what to say. We can hear him. Okay? This is from you, Mom.
Yes, well, this is what I'm requesting. I have it written down.
Okay, go ahead and read from what you have written down.
You can't see it. Zach and I request being of 2021 for the grade, not halfway through the year.
And once again, your reasoning is for him to complete the school here at Twin
Correct.
Lakes?
Yes. And then halfway through the summer, he goes there. So then he transitions and he's ready for the school year and they can do the placement testing then. Yeah, and he was crying.
Any argument to that, Ms. Hoover?
Your Honor, the court orders for him to
ahead,
start
Ms.
in, the court orders for him to start in the school year starts January 4th of 2021. We ask that that transition either over the Christmas break or if he goes virtually to allow him to go sooner down to Georgia, Judge.
All right. Okay, because we're here for a transfer date, previous order did state that the child was going to start school in Georgia come January 1st. We're going to have an exchange date of December 26, 2020. That allows mother to have Christmas Day with him. Are we going to meet halfway or what are we doing, Ms. Hoover? What do you propose?
Your Honor, I hadn't really gotten that far with my clients. I think a lot depends on how much items need to be transitioned, if there's a lot of things. But I believe the parties are capable of meeting halfway to allow for that transition. Mr. King, is that acceptable to you?
Yes, ma'am, it is. My only concern would be the Christmas schedule for the years.
For the years moving forward or for this year
Well,
for 2020?
Both, actually, because last year we did the whole shared Christmas morning, as you know, and then once custody changes hands, if I read correctly, I believe the following year, 2021, would be her Christmas with him. So I'm not really sure how we would handle that next year.
You want to ensure that she doesn't receive 3 Christmases in a row. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. I think that maybe with the guardian ad litem's help, we can address that issue on how to work out the schedule because we will have a transition issue, Judge. Mainly be created because of the switch and change. So I don't, Ms. Trent, do you have a proposal on that?
And I know is challenging. It's more because of the distance issue. I mean, usually Christmas Day, you can split that day in half. I mean, I don't know if Mr. King wanted to come up here to pick him up and wanted to do that on Christmas. I didn't want to interfere with his plans with the family he has in Georgia as well on Christmas Day. That was what was more of a significant thought to me. So, if he wanted to be here and be able to pick him up halfway through Christmas Day, so he spent part of that day with him, I think that I just didn't want to interfere with whatever plans Mr. King had. So I'm open to that suggestion as well. So.
Mr. King, would you like to be able to share on Christmas Day and do the exchange up here so you can pick up your son halfway through Christmas Day?
I think what I was kind of thinking is maybe flip-flopping in regards to how we split the Christmas holiday.
Moving forward.
Yeah, moving forward, starting in 21. So instead of it being her Christmas in 21 and then my New Year, we would swap it. And then just continue on with that pattern afterwards. That way it's fair for everyone.
Okay, but with regard to this year Christmas, do you want to drive up here and pick up your son halfway or up here in Indiana on Christmas Day?
I think meeting halfway would be more convenient for everybody.
Okay.
Mom, we've heard a couple things here. First, let's talk about logistics. Are you wanting to meet halfway or what?
On the 26th.
The 26th?
Correct. That's halfway.
Okay. Where's the halfway point?
Bowling Green.
Okay. All right. On the 26th, Mom and Dad's going to meet in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes,
All right. They're going to meet at a time that they agree upon based on, travel time. Something pops up. We'll exchange on the 26th. We will, for distance when a factor is, we'll take into play here for 2021 at Christmas. We can put it in the order that the Indiana Parenting Time Guidelines are going to apply, except for Christmas because of these unique situation that we have where custody is being transferred mid-year, okay?
Yes.
All right, anything else, Ms. Hoover?
Judge, I know we're not scheduled for, but the parties are having difficulty communicating about Thanksgiving. I didn't know if Ms. Trent would be able to help while everyone was on disability for that or not, Judge.
Anything to say, Ms. Trent?
I don't know what they've done in prior years, so that probably, or if they've done any Thanksgiving in the prior years and what everyone's availability is.
Mom, what do you feel is the issue?
Him.
What's
to
going
be
on?
here.
Huh?
Yeah, for Zach to be, sorry, I'm reading my notes. For Zach to be here.
For Thanksgiving?
Yes,
Okay. Ms.
I have
Hoover?
custody and he's leaving on the 26th, so I would like Thanksgiving with him here. For him to be here.
Ms. Hoover, what's the issue with that?
Mr. King, were you requesting, did you have Thanksgiving last year, Mr. King?
No, I picked him up later on in the day, towards the end of the day. So we actually had, I think it was, I can't remember the time, 4 p.m. I think is when I got him, Thanksgiving Day, and I had him for a couple of days after.
Okay. And did you give any notice to Mom prior that you would be requesting to have time on Thanksgiving this year?
Yes, it was part of the schedule that I had sent back in January for the entire year's visitation.
But you guys were never able to reach an agreement on that?
No, I never got an agreement through text, and the one time we did discuss it was in court. She verbally agreed and said, we'll just talk about Thanksgiving later, and that was the gist of it.
So are you requesting to have Thanksgiving Day with your son?
I'm sorry, you broke up there.
What are you requesting for Thanksgiving this year?
I was requesting at least some community. Recall, hold on one second. Schedule that I had sent was to pick him up when and return him Sunday, November 29th.
You were breaking up, Mr. King. Were you asking for the entire Thanksgiving break?
Wednesday, the 25th to Sunday, November 29th. Because I believe, according to the Indiana guidelines with distance as a factor, that was one of the things that I had noticed in there was Thanksgiving.
Okay, so you're requesting to have Thanksgiving this year, but you and Mom have not reached an agreement, correct?
Correct.
Would you be willing to share Thanksgiving with her?
I'd be willing to try and work something out, absolutely.
No other questions, Judge.
Your Honor?
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Trent.
I guess if last year it sounds like the father had a majority of the Thanksgiving break. So, and to be more consistent with the guidelines going forward, if Mom had this year, next year as custodial parent, Dad would have Thanksgiving break. That probably makes the most sense just to make it a little easier as far as them being able to follow the guidelines. So that would probably be my recommendation.
Yeah, the custodial parent in odd numbered years will get Thanksgiving from 6 p.m. on Wednesday until 7 p.m. on Sunday. So I think for this time being, we're not going to address anything for Thanksgiving. I know we've got a lot going on. We've already made the difficult decision that child's going to be transferred to Georgia. We'll let him have Thanksgiving with Mom. We can't win every battle we want. We're going to get the kid down there on the 26th. You guys are going to meet in Bowling Green. He'll be with Dad plenty of time. Dad can make him a turkey at a different time if he wishes. But now I think we're just kind of picking at little things that's going to be very hard to address at years to come if we make a lot of changes on these holidays right now. Okay. All right. Anything else, Ms. Hoover?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Anything else, Ms. Trent?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mom, Ms. Fisher, anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Ms. Hoover, are you able to take good notes on all that?
Yes, I was, Judge. I
All
can
right.
prepare the order.
All right, I appreciate that. We'll wait your proposed order on this. Mom, I think we still have your current mailing address. Is that correct? You've not moved, have you?
Can you verify it, please?
Yeah. Let me see. Post Office Box 1195 in Monticello?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, all right. All right, we have your mailing address. We'll get the order proposed, and then we'll review it, and we'll send it out to everybody, okay? Yep, Ms. Hoover, go ahead. One last question.
Judge, can we have, at the beginning, Mom gave her email address, it started out like Rebekah Fisher. Could she state that again for me, please?
Yeah, Mom, can you spell that? Can you spell that for us too, please? Thank you.
Yes, and it's all lowercase, REBEKAHFISCHER 0614 @gmail.com.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? All righty, that'll be the court. We wish everybody good luck. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.